in and out of balk shot, and there were 5 loose reds.
One.
Difficult to roll up behind this. You've got reds on the right and left of the table. It's hard to cover them all. Well, that's one way to do it. Land dead weight up behind the brown. That was more difficult than it looked, I can tell you, because there's such a wide margin between the left red and the 2 on the right.
Terrific touch. That's O'Sullivan's friend Damien Hirst, the artist.
Yeah, he's an artist in a very different way to the other artist, O'Sullivan. Worth the Bobo too, they tell me. I think isn't he the richest living artist in the world? I think I've Wikipedia'd his name somewhere. Not skint anyway.
We may count our income in thousands, Neil. He will count his in millions.
Well, I'm not certain he played that shot, to be honest. But it doesn't really matter whether he played it or not. That's where they finished. Well, he's straight behind that red, but he sees no way of getting on a colour. That's why he looks at the one above and whether it goes. I think it will. He'd like to be right behind it, though. That would make it easier, but he's not playing it.
Had a difficult alternative to right middle. Played it as if he expected to get it. Was always going to leave red to left corner if he missed it. But that would have required, I guess, some sort of shot to avoid the other cluster, so Carter turned it down. Is that possible? And if it just isn't, can it be made possible by left of centre striking as he looks at it? Well, can't foresee an outcome like that. Leaving a red on the brink of the middle pocket. Not an ideal shot for position, though. Had to trust to luck largely.
One.
Pink would go. But from the initial red, O'Sullivan had to rely largely on luck.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
Well, it's another tactical frame, and of course we saw O'Sullivan lose the fourth frame, which is a little bit slow and is not to his liking. And of course, Ali Carter with Peter Ebdon in his corner would hope to win frames of this kind now. The drawn out ones, perhaps, will be the ones he's looking to target, if you like. Obviously, he'd like to win them before it became drawn out, but you know what I'm saying, if it goes that way, these are the ones he needs to win. Sounded a bit odd, didn't it? He's queuing so far down on it.
Yes, the Ebdon method of playing O'Sullivan always was make him wait, both in shot choices and sometimes, and more controversially, in the time he took to play the shots.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't suit Ali Carter to just slow the game down to a halt. If the ball's going that way, then that's a different story. You can't, change things about the way the balls are. If you've got to play a battling frame, you've got to play one. But I don't think Carter would be suited by playing slowly. And Ebdon at times is as good a player as he is. He's kind of used that to his advantage a bit at times.
Yes, the 2005 O'Sullivan-Ebdon quarter-final was notorious for that, when Ebdon played at a funereal pace, which certainly altered the character of the contest. O'Sullivan went into the final session 10-6 up, but by the time he lost 13-11, his concentration was thoroughly shredded.
That's a very good shot from O'Sullivan. That really is a good shot. It's up there with all the tactical shots anyone could play. Bit Davis like that. Now what he's done here, okay, if he could have got the cue ball tight, it would have given him nothing to go at, just the top of it, so he couldn't have played any kind of a stun or screw shot. But he has, having said that, put his man in trouble. Is this red going to go near the middle? Well, it looks like he's got away with that. Does Ronnie fancy rolling the other ball past the pink to the right middle? That's the question. If it goes in, it might win him the frame. It doesn't usually turn these sort of shots down, but there's a lot riding on this shot.
O'Sullivan's 24 behind, so if he went for that red and missed, it would be a chance for Carter to clinch the frame.
And he already missed a red into that pocket earlier in the frame, hit the top jaw, which would be up where the pink is now. And queuing down on it made the shot even harder, I think, instead of just rolling it. That would frustrate him.
One.
So here's a chance for Carter to level the match.
Yeah, and if you can get up for
7.
perhaps the blue, get that back on its own spot, then it should be plain sailing. Nothing's ever that easy, but the reds are very open. Certainly enough of them.
8. 10. 11. 17.
Carter's pot success rate for the tournament, 92%, just one notch below O'Sullivan's.
It
does show how little they've missed.
Didn't pop that cleanly. That's why his cue ball went slightly adrift, and he's got to play from the side
20.
cushion now. 44 the lead, so he wants red and black, or red, pink and another red. Was played on the black.
21.
That's pretty good. 52 will be the difference when this goes in.
So O'Sullivan already needs one snooker. And that fluke has put O'Sullivan out of the frame.
Alec Carter 29 and the frame.
So it's 3-all with two further frames to play in this first session of 4 of the Betfred.com World Championship final. And those who thought that this final would be a runaway for O'Sullivan have certainly been proved wrong. And there's just the odd sign that O'Sullivan's getting slightly fed up with the slow pace at which things are proceeding. They're not the type of frames that he likes, but once he gets to the table, his discipline's been pretty good still.
Yeah, I thought he looked a bit restless there at the end of the frame when they showed him after he'd conceded. He looked a little bit like he was, his concentration had gone a bit, and that's always where the problems start with Ronnie. He's got 2 more frames to play. There'll be a huge gap between sessions tonight, with a couple of hours before they resume. So you need to get his concentration back together.
Thank you. Frame 7. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Not for nothing is this called the Marathon of the Mind. Not a good break-off shot from O'Sullivan. Cue ball much too far from the baulk cushion. Possible long red for Carter. It looks as if it's a natural angle round behind the back of the black.
Looks good.
Perhaps chose the safety because the potable red was not a natural angle to take the cue ball round.
There's Ebden Cam, which we've got going on. Having a look at Peter Ebden. Funny enough, I was looking at his record in the championship, and Ali Carter beat him in 2008 in the match where he made a 147, if you remember. And Ebden's not won a match since at the Crucible. He's lost in the first round every year. He had to qualify, of course, this year, but he's not won a match since then. He's lost in round one since he lost to Ali. Slightly weak shot, and you play side cushion before bottom cushion on their safeties. You've always got to hit them a little harder. Don't go very far. Now, what's he spotted? Is it the red past the other two, or is there a plant? Ali looked very purposeful there. Now he shakes his head. Don't think there's any plants on.
Over 5 rounds, a player has to win 71 frames to win this great championship. And inevitably, some of those frames have to be won the hard way. And there've only been 2, one on either side this afternoon, that have been won quickly.
Nice pot, whether it amounts to much depends on next 2 or 3 shots as to whether Ronnie can develop the reds.
Eight. Nine.
Ah.
14.
I think the damage has been done by the red on the right, actually. And it was as hard as he could have hit them. There may have been a red that went. I'm not sure if the red on the right had just covered it.
Somewhat frustrating when you hit the budge as hard as that and nothing is left on.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 14.
Played a good shot there, though, to cover the red, if that's what he's done. He certainly looked to do that.
Yes, he has done. The potable reds to left corner Certainly not without risk. So that's why Carter isn't interested in them. Not just risky, but with little chance of obtaining good position. So maybe a safety from the circled red.
Yeah, but even that looks tough to me. They're going to try and find a way. Well, it'll be a good shot.
Unable to avoid the second contact. And in addition, red has gone over the pocket. Oh.
One.
It's very, very rare that you see O'Sullivan lose position like that.
Yeah, and I don't think the blue will pop past the red to the top left either. Don't know if it took a bit of a flyer off the jaw. That cue ball seemed to absolutely accelerate once it polled the red. Well, this is where Ronnie will have to be patient. Something that he'd normally play a bit of a lash here because of his frustration, but this is something he's got to keep in check.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
Maybe O'Sullivan's positional error was evidence of fraying concentration just at the edges. Second consecutive safety mistake from Carter, though. Black tied up, pink tied up. And
One.
gets the wrong positional route, trying to get on the blue.
Yeah, it made a huge difference, didn't it? If he could have just got up onto the blue and brown, just passing that red, it was guaranteed. So he's got to try and do it all again. So it's taking him a few visits to the table, this frame. Anything but this contact on the red and he's okay.
Yellow ball. Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
It's a very unlike Ronnie O'Sullivan frame, isn't it? You know he doesn't want to take 4 or 5 visits to win a frame. You know he'll be annoyed about the lack of position he's gained on the last 2 visits. But somehow he's got to overcome it. That's one thing I would say is usually quite weak.
Four.
This really does test Ronnie in a way that he doesn't like being tested. Frames like this. I'll tell you, he made a 38 break yesterday
5.
against Matthew Stevens when there was nothing there. I think the yellow was on for most of the break. And it was tough as they come.
Nine. Ten. Mm. 15.
Choosing the more difficult red here. Played it well though. It was quite
16.
narrow from there. And if you could get another 2 or 3 reds, well, it'd be very tough to beat in the frame. The balls are still awkward, no high value colours up, apart from this blue.
$21.
Just wonder if Carter missed a trick earlier in this
20s.
frame there, missing that red. Definite signs that Ronnie was under it. He was really struggling. Concentration appeared to be gone. Not playing into the black, which I can completely understand why he wouldn't.
27. $28.
He's a bit unlucky in the end to hit the jaw. Playing the brown. Down for the 2 reds into the right corner. Presuming they both go, he'll be all right. That's a lovely shot.
32.
Just about on the first one.
33.
Well, this time you feel that he could go into the 2 reds by the black if he feels that there's a chance, or certainly the others. He's played it pretty well. It's all starting to happen again for O'Sullivan now.
28.
But there was definitely a slight crisis point there earlier in the frame.
This is frame ball.
Well, he was presented with a chance, another chance, but I tell you, he has taken these very, very well. And this little passage of play is the difference between O'Sullivan now and other times when he's not been quite so prepared to slug it out.
Well, normal service has been resumed.
29.
Well, it looked for a moment like the pianist had forgotten the tune, but
57.
he certainly picked it up.
58.
And now it looks as if he's going to clear up. What were the odds against that when he came to the table?
65.
Well, he couldn't possibly clear up, could he? Let's be honest. You know, it just was a
67.
time when 35 break was looking almost beyond him. Not only where the balls were, but how he was looking.
70.
Extraordinary break, this, isn't it? How on earth has he taken these?
74. $79. $86.
5 minutes of genius, just when he needed it. And with that sublime 92 clearance, Ronnie O'Sullivan regains the lead at 4-3. Well, that was just terrific. To leap from the mundane to the sublime in one easy movement, you don't often see that. And the way that O'Sullivan won that frame will be a shaker for Carter, because he was, well, still is right in it, but the way things were going, seemed to be every possibility that Carter might win that frame and get his nose in front. He did have a good chance, but missed a red to middle. Left it over the pocket, and O'Sullivan did the rest. Now, O'Sullivan will be looking for a 5-3 interval lead.
Yeah, incredible clearance that. Quite something. When it didn't really seem possible. Incredible from the balls and what looked to be a slightly edgy state of mind.
He dug deep. And he found it.
Thank you. Final frame of the session. Ali Carter to break.
Yeah, and of course what will Ali Carter do now, because clearly he knew for a few moments there that he, you know, had a little bit of a little window of opportunity which he didn't take. So he's got to bounce back now.
This is not a natural, round behind the back of the black.
Well, it was a great pot. Ronnie's good, but he's not good enough to play the cannon off two reds. So he had a little bit of good fortune.
Eight. Nine.
But he will play into the reds here with the knowledge there's a red out on the left out in open play. He might not go into these very firmly, but he'll play it to bounce off the packen on that red. Yeah, that's a classy shot. Not played with anything but the idea of nudging 3 or 4 out and being on the loose one.
16. Seventeen.
Well, I think the pink is the correct shot here. Seems to offer better position anyway.
Give me a second, please, says Michaela Tabb. First to check that the pink won't go back on its spot. It turns out that it will.
$24.
Got his timing back, lost it for about a frame.
31.
Maybe a frame and a half.
Well, in the past, O'Sullivan has often agonised, even after he's won a match, that he hasn't played to the standard he requires.
32.
But he's managed to put those sort of considerations to the back of his mind. And he's certainly back in top gear now.
39.
Still up to 94%. He's down just one on what he had earlier, but that's still very good. Very, very good.
45. 46.
So into the reds this time. He little puff of the cheeks. Maybe he's a little tired after all the exertions, but I think just to the right of the pack here, and the red to the right at the same time. Oh yes, what a shot! That's a beautiful break.
53.
It looked good in super slow-mo as well.
It certainly did. Well, you'd think he would go on and win the frame. I mean, the balls could not be placed better.
54.
And you'd think he'd be on the way to making a very big break. Never quite know, but it would appear that way. The form he's hit in the last 15 minutes or so.
$61.
So after being reduced to his lower gears in the last few frames, he's back in overdrive.
62.
Interesting shot to play on the pink when he could have played on the black. So, as you can see, 75 is on, but that'll go down by 8 points once the next red is potted. So Ali Carter looks like he's going to trail 5-3. If the next red goes in, he'll need snookers. Not that he'll be likely to get a chance to actually go for them.
69.
All from a long red that was not easy.
75.
So a real spurt here from O'Sullivan.
He was getting bogged down, but he cleared up with an amazing 92 in the last frame. And he's going to win this frame in a single visit.
83. 84. 91. 92.
'Got all the shots, hasn't he, into the pink. Was one way.
99.
He can make 142 here.
One artist, Damien Hirst, admiring another there.
107.
Yes, in his second century of the session.
108.
Yes, he made 117 in the second frame.
114. 116.
And he's making this look so easy.
Well, the point is, he's doing the one thing that we've always thought he perhaps couldn't do. You know, he really looked as if he's on the brink. I mean, he rolled a green in at the start of that 92 break. If he'd have missed it, in the old days, anything could have happened. You know, we've seen him walk out of a match when things weren't going very well in the UK Championship, and I felt he was on the brink there. But he's doing the thing that we've never seen him do before, almost. Just when he's at that point, he's produced brilliance.
I'm sorry, I'm out of superlatives. 92 and a total clearance of 141 back-to-back to finish off the session. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Ali Carter by 5 frames to 3 going into this evening's second session of 4. So as O'Sullivan returns to his dressing room, we also take our leave of you for a while. We hope that you will rejoin us on liveworldsnooker.tv at 7 o'clock British time for the second session.